peace and harmony. CC go take us there to the promised land. No one will stop us now. No, 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 no. CC go take us there to the promised land. No one will stop us now. No, 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 no. Ambazonia, Ambazonia, their time of freedom has come today. Ambazonia, Ambazonia, their time of freedom is here to stay. Ambazonia, Ambazonia, their time of freedom has come today. Ambazonia, Ambazonia, their time of freedom is here to stay. Water na water, today na today, nobody go Caesar to jubilate. Na say Mandela and Nkrumah, it's now since we go turn Africa.
Yeah, fellow Ambazonians, welcome to your defense briefing, the first defense briefing for the year 2023. Having a great panelist here. It's been a long while. I don't know I think let me see, try to adjust yeah. The panelist is great and wonderful. I want to thank our defense chair for Momo, who is sacrificing a lot to meet up with time. Fellow Ambazonian, this is ABC Amba Television, and you're welcome to Defense Briefing, the first and most certainly a continuous program, a program that will always keep you on seat for 2023. The panelists, as usual, is wonderful. We have our SOS. Anyhow, the panelists are everybody. You have to introduce yourself. We'll begin with Dr. Zama, who I think is the most senior. Doctor, once more, it's nice meeting on this platform again with you. We have always been doing the work, and I think it's a continuation. Thank you for your persistence. Thank you for your resilience. You're welcome. Please, Doctor, the microphone is yours.
Well, thank you, Comrade Nilong. It's been a while, and Happy New Year. And I hope we are here to convey a lot of information to our citizens back home. Comrade Fombat, it was nice seeing you after a long time. And Comrade Kenneth, from all corners of the world, we want to thank you for being in the show.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We move to Comrade Kenneth. Can you introduce yourself then, Comrade Fombat?
Yeah, Comrade Paul, thank you. And yeah, can I go on?
Yeah, the microphone is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, Comrade. Good evening, fellow panelists. Good evening, fellow televiewers. As our moderator rightly said, my name is Kenneth. I am the CDO for Momo, and at the same time, the spokesman for the ANSC. I hope we'll be having a good deliberation here today, in which we can enlighten the Ambazonian people, tell them and let them know what has been happening with the defense. And probably we will have to maybe tell them how we have to proceed from here onwards. So thank you once more, and Happy New Year to all our televiewers and our panelists. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Comrade.
Yes, Comrade Fomba, the old broom can.
Yeah, thank you very much for this great invite. It's been a while. I've been tempted to say Happy New Year to the people, but there's nothing happy about this New Year. Can you hear me?
Yeah, 5 on 5, 5 on 6, 5 on 7.
Yeah, Yeah, there is nothing happy about this year, 2023, because if you take a look back home, you see how the terrorist is slaughtering, killing his way into Ambazonia. And the world remains muted with cosmetic solutions. So, fellow Ambazonians, it's a privilege to sit here. It's a privilege to talk to you at the beginning of this year. It's a new year, so it's really a privilege. Hopefully, we get a good deliberations and talk like comrades and find a way forward. Thank you very much. Happy to see these beautiful faces on here. Thank you.
Africa,
Mama Liliana Yutabe, Kakumbe women are behind you. Mama Ambazonia. We leave the Paris. Ambazonia the Kayo. Levez-vous. Milana Tam, the stratege. Picking for Ambazonia. Honorable Weaver. Warrior from Jakiri. Justice Abel. From West Africa. Diplomacy. Ahead.
You're welcome back. Fellow Ambazonians, you're welcome back. This is Defense Briefing. I'm your host, Paul Nilong. We'll go straight to our discussion for the day. We'll begin with our SOS for Defense, Comrade Zama. Papa, can you please give us an overview of the Defense Department for 2022? Can you tell the Ambazonian people what the Defense Department got for us 2022 before we dive into 2023? For now, what can you tell the Ambazonian?
Well, I think 2022 was a very, very eventful year in this struggle, because in this struggle we made a lot of advances in terms of weaponry, in terms of tactics, in terms of strategy against the enemy. We had quite successful trajectory in this fight until there was some confusion brought in by the Chris Anyus and all the other people who some sort of paralyzed the fighters on the ground because there was no leadway as to where to go and who to follow. The IG under Dr. Sako and under this Department of Defense have been very proactive and has been very supportive of our troops on the ground. And it has shown, because in all areas where the ARFs have been involved, there's not been penetration by the La Republique, or even though they do penetrate into those areas, they are being hammered, and they go back in body bags to Konolinga and everywhere else in the Republic of Cameroon. We are asking, and we've shown all along that in 2022, the ARF have been king of the territory. La Republique has not been able to do what it has, given all the information they have, given all the drone flights they've had, given all the mapping that they say they've done. And we've instituted and instilled into our fighters that technology is not the only factor in a fight. Weaponry is not also the factor in a fight. What you are fighting for is of great value to the fighter and the heart of the fighter. We've been in this fight for 6 years, starting with peace plans, moving on to machetes and hunting rifles, and now we have real tactical weapons to fight the enemy on the same tactical side that they have. In 2022, I really want to applaud all our soldiers on the ground. Even though the enemy is busy picking up civilians and disappearing them, calling them Amber warriors, they dare not go into those areas where you have our ARFs. They know that, and they're scared of them, and they only can pick up the low-hanging fruits, who are the little citizens and young women, old parents, and burn down villages. We are trying to mitigate that. We are doing the best we can, but as such, we've had a lot of fringe groups that have been planted by Mr. Tanganji to undermine what we are doing. They're going about kidnapping, they're going about looting, raping in the name of the Ambazonian fighters. We know in our hearts of hearts, they are always profiteers in any war, but we are trying to mitigate those situations where we limit the number of those interactions between the bandits and the citizens of Ambazonia. But we are asking, and we've asked all the time for our citizens to get to pinpoint these persons in their community, and it's not been an easy task when you know a brother is a thief, a brother is a looter, and you don't know how to put them out there in public. It's to the general benefit of all Ambazonians to have a safe and peaceful Ambazonia, to sleep quietly at night and calmly and under security. The Ambazonian ARFs are doing all they can with all the information that is available out there to thwart the enemy's attempts to come into our communities and cause mayhem. 2023 is going to be even a robust encounter with the enemy. We are re-strategizing, we are re-evaluating our equipment, re-evaluating our weaponry, and those things will be deployed as we get them rolled down in the process of this war. Thank you.
Thank you very much, SOS. We'll move straight to Comrade Kenneth, spokesperson for the ANSC. What can you tell us about the ANSC and 2022?
Yeah, thank you once more, Paul, for having me. We started, the year didn't quite start on a good footing, as we had all the coupers that were trying to thwart most of our affairs in that department. But thanks to the visionary leadership of our president, he stepped in, and some changes were made into the ANSC. And with those changes, we assigned specific tasks, that of making sure that whatever was happening out there doesn't go through to affect our troops or our fighters on the ground. So we immediately went to work. We set up our various departments, and they were assigned those tasks. And what happened was the boys were given directives. We engaged them in discussions, enlightening them, telling them what was happening, and giving them the vision of our president and what we stood for in this revolution. So eventually what happened was the groups that were about to, those that were a little bit shaky at the foundation, we happened to stabilize them. We brought them back into our ranks, and we saw most of the results throughout the year, because we virtually took over back the forces that the Coopers and the rest were trying to take over from us. We trying to take away from us. We brought them back into our ranks, and they went to work immediately. I'll let it be known here that the fighters we've got, or whatever we are going through, we were not prepared for this. It was brought upon us, and we have to commend these boys for the work they're doing. They're doing a great job. They're even, in my case, or from what we have seen, they're even better off than the so-called enemy forces from the Republic. They've been doing a great job protecting our civilians who are being killed day in, day out by the terrorist La Republic soldiers, and also doing their utmost best to fight for our liberation. So I think with that, Paul, to answer your question, the ANSC has been doing a terrific job. And I think in the year 2023, from what I've seen, we've started on a good footing. I think the year will even be better than 2022. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commander Kenneth. Thank you for that brief on the ANSC. Commander Fombart, as a defense expert, what can you say? You have heard from the SOS, you have heard from the ANSC spokesperson. Now, as a defense expert, because from the beginning of 2017, you dive directly into defense until today. So you have mastered every field and connection. You know the ups and the downs. Now, what can you say about 2022? Before we come into your perspective for 2023, what is your overview on 2022?
Yeah, thank you, our host, Comrade Paul. Again, just like SOS and Commander Kenneth said, I will repeat that these boys are doing a tremendous job. One, we need to recommend them because they are doing more than what anybody in this struggle can do. Just staying down there with the fact and that the public knows that you are a threat. You are a threat to their government. You are a threat to their administrators. You are a threat to their colonial powers that they are imposing on us. Already, you are on a map. So they are doing everything. And these boys, I want to give them a 21 gun salute, a hand of applause. 2022, it has been a year, I can say a year for 50-50. When we ended 2021, we were waxing strong into 2022 until sellouts came along. People came along like the Crisanu, the Mariantas, and you can name the rest with their agendas. Though it was shaky, but the ANC still managed the year. We thank God the year has come to a close. We have learned a lot, a whole lot from 2022. And I want to believe that we are diving into 2023 to put into practice what has been learned, the setbacks and the positive aspects of 2022. We will put them, the ANC will put them into context, into perspective, go over them, fine-tune the mistakes, correct ourselves, and come back. If there's something we are not doing appropriately correct, we will try to make sure that that is corrected. If it's something that the home front is not doing correctly, we'll make sure we together as one, we correct it. You know, in this struggle, like I used to say, and I will always say, like everybody here will say, people came from their homes as individuals into this struggle. Those of us in the diaspora, nobody ever picked his phone to call me and say, join the struggle. When I joined this struggle, I didn't know that it was going to. I joined this struggle when I saw La Republic butchering our people. When I saw helicopter gunship, I saw how colonial gendarmes were beating our lawyers and our teachers on the street. We're rolling our daughters, our sisters and brothers in sewage water in the University of Buea. I saw the mass arrest. I saw the torture. I said, no, I cannot fold my hands. Just like that is the same thing. And those I'm home from, those we call today the Ambazonia Restoration Forces. We all have made a whole lot of mistakes. Nobody is a saint or an angel. And we can still correct those mistakes. Because remember, this struggle is ours to win. It is ours. We don't have any alternative from winning this struggle, from getting to a destination. So no matter what happens, home front and diaspora must seem to be working together in close-knit collaboration. Because remember, the first victim will be you on the home front if you think you know more than enough. Because we are all in a learning curve. We will keep learning until we get to Buea. Thank you very much.
Commander Fomba, thank you very much. Doctor, back to your section. Now we have had a turbulence here, I can say that we had a really turbulence year. We must accept the reality, and this turbulence year came as a result of I don't know, evil-minded individuals who thought they could hijack the interim government, and this certainly had an impact on the defense department. Can you highlight to us some of the difficulties that the defense department encountered when these so-called coupas came up with their evil imagination and evil plan? Certainly it did affect, but can you tell the Ambazonian people what you went through? Because they must know this reality. They must understand what the defense department went through to be what it is today. Because if we had succumbed, if the defense department would have succumbed to the applause, I don't think we'll be sitting here. So please, can you tell the Ambazonian people the impact? They must understand. They must know the impact.
The confusion that was brought on towards the middle of 2022 was very consequential. Consequential in the sense that prior to 2022, prior to that period where there was confusion, very few of our soldiers were actually killed in the battlefield or outside of the battlefield. But with the confusion that came in, we had a lot of people, a lot of our soldiers were killed because of identification by insiders. There was the unity warriors that came in every aspect, and it became a big trouble because soldiers were being snared into becoming kidnappers, becoming thieves, and these soldiers were eventually betrayed by the citizens who were fed up with what they were doing. We lost really valiant fighters in that struggle, basically because of that. And two, there was the confusion because there was no point. Our president, Dr. Sako, has been smeared for being the person who is serving, planting confusion and diverting funds to areas where Chris Anu says misappropriation, whatever he was saying. But up till today, we've been trying to find out, Chris Anu, to bring up your facts, to bring up evidence. Chris Anu, Dr. Epa, and all the other people who are accusing Dr. Sako never could stand the test of time to bring out those things into the field. But of course, it had a moral breaking attitude towards our fighters who were demoralized because their commander-in-chief was being maligned. We went through that. We went through a lot of the difficulties. The fighters, we had a dwindling of funds at that point because we could not afford some of the funding for the soldiers, because those funds were diverted into accounts by Mr. Nanchab, and into accounts in England, and into accounts where Mr. Anu could best manage them. Even though Chris Anu and his group said they will come up with millions and millions of dollars to put into this fight, up till today, we haven't seen a single penny that Mr. Anu has put into this fight. We haven't seen a single soldier who's been helped from their wounds. We haven't seen a single sacrifice to the refugees. So we are coming back to the steady state. Where is that steady state is the IG under Dr. Sako, who has taken care to take care of our prisoners of war, taken care of our refugees, and taking care of our soldiers who are at the battlefront. We are providing every tool we can. We are trying to make their life as easy as possible, because it's not an easy task hiding under a tree, hiding in bushes to be able to do your job. I don't stay under those conditions. But I think it brings more clarity into this fight. Who is for the people? Who has the back of the Ambazonians? Is it Dr. Sako or is it Chris Anu? It has been that fight since from the time when Sisiko went to jail. It was an election between Dr. Sako and Chris Anu, and Chris Anu lost woefully, and he thought he would become a president by backstabbing and doing all the other negative stuff to this fight, even up to selling out to the enemy. We have stood the test of time, and we are still standing the test of time because we are still in the battlefield. We are still fighting. The IG is the only organization that is able to portray where they get their funds, how they use their funds. We cannot argue that yes, there's been some missing funds that is being mismanaged. Yes, all those things happen in every country, in every war. But we've met safeguards to those areas where we knew we lost money. We met safeguards to those areas, and those things cannot be done nowadays so easily. But on the other end, we are telling people, yes, look, this is our plan of action. This is what we've done, and it would be nice to measure it against what the others have done or not done, because it's not a competition per se, but it's an appreciation of two different values. Where is Ambazonia going, and who is heading that Ambazonia that the Ambazonians want? And I think we are on course to achieve independence, whether La Republic likes it or not. It's something that's going to happen. It's not a matter of 20 years, like some people say. La Republic is crumbling under its own weight. It's crumbling every single day. It's begging for funds everywhere. It's increasing monies for tax collection. It's just a matter of time. There's going to be a saturation point where it's going to implode, and it's going to implode on them. And at that point, there will not be the cost of occupying Ambazonia will be overwhelming to them, and they'll have to literally just walk away. There will come a time when we don't even have to shoot them out of Ambazonia. They will have to walk away from Ambazonia. But before that time comes, we'll have to send them home in their caskets, as many of them as we can, because they are here in Ambazonia to rape, to loot, to steal, and to kill our people. And until that time comes, we will be backing fire for fire as soon as we can get those things going.
Thank you very much, Doctor. This question will go sequence by sequence. We will continue with the ANSC. The Coopers were there, right inside ANSC. How did ANSC survive?
Yeah, Paul, that's an interesting question. Yeah, the ANSC had its own fair share of the Coopers, and I remember at one time, most of the talk that was out there was NSC is infected. NSC cannot be trusted. People cannot work. We cannot, the people's government cannot trust the NSC. Those that had those fears, they had those fears with due reason. Yes, there were a lot of them in the NSC. But the truth was, those that were truly for this revolution, those that were for this government, for our interim government headed by His Excellency, Dr. Samuel Komisako, they knew themselves. They knew they knew what they were there for. And they knew those that were the Coopers in that house. So, the president being as smart as he is, he had to some sort of reshuffle. He handed over the responsibility of that to the counties. And during that period, the counties, looking at whatever was going on at the helm or with the Coopers and so on, knew that they had to put a fix to whatever problems they were having with regards to their defense. So they had to put in those commanders. They had to carry out fresh elections and bring in those commanders that they knew were standing with this government or were standing with their counties, and in so doing, standing with the federal government. Those were brought in, and those that most of them that were deemed Coopers, those that we knew were Coopers, a lot of them were kicked out. But that didn't go down without a fight. Even after they were kicked out, a lot of them still showed up in the ANSC in our initial meetings. And some even went as far as suggesting that they should bring in President whoever that is out there. I don't want to call the name. That they should. I mean, they even one time brought them in, and most of the members didn't like that. It didn't just end there. There was a time we were in the meeting, and one of them came up, one of the coopers that the military should have taken over. We were shocked to have heard that on that day. And that particular person was kicked out on that particular day, and they were asked never to extend the link of our meetings to him. So with that, at that point, our SOS, then SOS for Defense, Secretary Frank, God bless him, he went about trying to reshuffle the house. We created, luckily we had the admin powers for that particular forum. So we went about kicking out those that we knew were not working with us, and making sure that they don't come close to anywhere close to our house. And by then, we're trying our best to see to it that those that the fighters that were on the ground, we bring them on our side. And by so doing, I think that was the way we survived it. Basically, we kicked out most of those that we saw that they were a threat, those that we knew were the Coopers. We kicked them out and stayed with those that were handed to us, those that were given, those that were freshly elected from the counties, those that came in to represent the counties under this particular interim government. Thank you, Comrade.
Okay, thank you very much. At least that was logical handling, strategic handling of that situation, and we see the ANSC vibrating and doing strong. Yeah, Fombad,
Exactly.
as a defense expert and a core member of the defense team of the interim government, what was your overview? How did you manage to survive, you yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Paul. Surviving by myself, it is not all about me. It is all about us. How did we, as a defense team, how did we, as a defense department of this interim government, survive the Coopers, survive this pit that these people were struggling to push this struggle into? We survived basically, I would say, thanks to SOS, Secretary Frank. Through his wisdom, his knowledge, his counseling, we were able to survive. There are a lot of so many things that were decisions that were taken, meetings that were held within to listen and understand and each other, give commanders in the ANSC their chances to air themselves so that all of us can together listen and reason together. And gradually when we all start expressing our concerns, that is where we got to realize that actually within us there were molds. I will call them molds, because there are people that were pointing fingers, and if you ask them, what are you saying? Can you expatiate more? Do you have any evidences? All was just based on a hearsay. So we will not prosecute this struggle to this moment, and people come with baseless stories, baseless arguments to derail this struggle. This issue of the Coopers, it greatly affected our struggle. Just like you have said yourself, you confirmed yourself. SOS, Dr. Zama has confirmed. Commander Kenneth, the spokesman of the ANSC, has confirmed 2022 was a year of storm. Even though this government recorded a lot of successes, but the storm that came by the middle of the year shook this struggle. A lot of our comrades fell apart. When you have a tree with fruits, no matter how you shake that tree, some fruits will not fall. Yeah, there are also some fruits that the slightest wind will pass and those fruits will fall. This is how this struggle is. This is how this struggle. There are some people who join this struggle thinking that it was all going to be a bed of roses. No, this is a struggle. Ambazonian struggle is not going to be any different. So if you are sitting there, if you are standing there, if you are in there thinking that is all going to be a bed of roses, I will advise you jump off now. Then take somebody along with you when the storms come. Because mind you, we don't pray for this negative energy, but in as much as you are in a struggle like ours, we are still going to go through several storms until we get to the final destinations. Because there are people that have been bought over. There are people that will still be bought over. There are people that will just give up. There are people that, because of one thing or the other, because of stories, baseless stories, senseless arguments, they will fall off. Because of audios that activists will make will discourage you. This is the fact. These are the various storms that I'm naming. That's one or two of these storms will pull you out of this struggle if you don't know your destination, if you don't know why you are here, if we don't understand the reason why we are here. There are a lot of things going on. In the course of this ANSC defense briefing, gradually we'll get to understand why some of these coopers are behaving the way they are. Yeah. Why? Because today I will actually enlighten some people, some Ambazonians out there who are following people because of their voices, because of their language. Thank God we have the opportunity to sit on here as defense people, and we will tell Ambazonian people. Some of these individuals, you see them pass in front of you in the name of leaders, in the name of activists. Some of the things that we have made investigation, we have discovered back. And some of us, I am a victim, and I will tell you from my experience. Thank you, and God bless.
Yeah, we will help other people.
Comrade Paul, are you there?
Yes. Are you getting me?
Five on five. I don't know if my network or your network. I think I'm having some network issues.
But I'm
getting
your voice.
Your image is okay. You're fine now. I think you're fine.
Okay. Zama, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, our this defense briefing is for home front. Now, what is the defense department telling people on home front at this moment? There's a lot of confusion. We are going to talk about the Canada what, and the president of La République made a speech in the Unity Palace yesterday saying he's open for dialogue and negotiation. We should be extremely careful now. When I heard that, I know there was something cookie which is not in favor of Ambazonia. So let the defense, the SOS, talk to ground zero. Ground zero need assurance. There's been a lot of confusion, misunderstanding, but we need a word of strength, assurance, to tell ground zero that all is in order. We need a message from the Defense Department telling Black Legs that they are not destroying the revolution. They are not destroying this struggle, but they are destroying themselves. And we will not sleep. We will sort them out, one after the other. SOS, I know you have a word of power. I know what comes out of your mouth comes with authority. Please, before we go into the Canada shamble, what advice, what message do you have for home front?
Them the question, why are we fighting this war? Let him ask himself that question. Why did we enter into this war? This war was declared on us. Why didn't we just accept the terms of that war that Paul Biya said? Surrender and keep going. Why are we insistent on fighting this war? We are fighting this war because of the injustices that we face on a daily basis. Those injustices have only increased in proportion since the war started. Before, they used to kill us in clandestine manners. Now they'll stop your vehicle and just shoot you if you refuse to give them $200, 200 francs. We have to understand that this war is not going to go anywhere, or is not stopping today. No matter what Mr. Paul Biya says in his speeches, no matter what he says to his generals, the only truth, a test of that, is for him to pull back his troops. That's when you can find something genuine in what he's saying. He has to pull back his troops to their barracks, and then he can ask for a negotiated peace. You cannot ask for a peace, you cannot talk peace while you're fighting. Those are just things that you read in textbook, that in order to fight, in order to have plan for peace, you have to fight. Now, he started this fight. He should pull back his troops. Then we can start talking. Until that point, the best thing to any ARF in Ambazonia is your gun next to your bed. It's your gun next to you. You have to fight until somebody comes in between us and says, okay, and stop fighting. And that person or that nation that comes in has to be a neutral member of an international organization or a third-party country. We are not negotiating anything with La République du Cameroon. La République du Cameroon has never kept any real treaty. You can name any treaty that they've signed, they've abandoned each one of them all the time. We are not going to abide by this singular address by them that they want to have an address, peace negotiations. For the people on the ground, I want every person to understand that you are a fighter. I want you to understand that there's a bull mark on your forehead, on the back, on your back, because you are targeted just for the mere fact that you're an Ambazonian. We have to understand that you don't have to be in Ambazonia to be targeted. We have to understand that there will be some of us who will never be Ambazonians. They may have been born Ambazonians. Their parents may have be Ambazonians, but they are not Ambazonians. We know people who are in French Cameroon who will never be coming back to Ambazonia. They've lived in French Cameroon all their lives. We may be foolhardy to think that these people are going to come back and they're going to fight with us. No, they will fight for their interests. They've settled over there. But I want these people to understand, as this war rages on, they must have to choose side. It's a binary decision. It's either Ambazonia or it's La République. It cannot be both. We cannot stand on the fence. And if you want to stand on the fence, get out of our way. Because Ambazonia is set and open to be a country. We are not saying that it's an if. It's not a possibility, it's a fact. And La République du Cameroon understands that. We are going to put the pressure until we reach Buea. We will not retire. We will not rest until we reach Buea, because all the excesses of La République is just going to get worse in case we give in today. In case we flipped our back and lay back and say, okay, La République, we surrender, we will be murdered, we will slaughtered. We know what the La République did to the Northeast when the coup in '84 failed. They were killed and they were killed and they were killed, and they are still being killed because kids are still dying in the north because there's no progress in the north, there's no development in the north. And those are still punishment that is meted to those people in common in their entirety. So we don't want to be like them. We don't want to suffer the fate of all the other people who have been defeated in war. We must defeat La République. We must do that. And we must do that given the fact that every individual, every Ambazonian suffers under these callous barbarians coming in from Yaoundé. There's no person. We see lines and lines of people going for identity card. In what country in the world do you have an identity card that you have to fight for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years? For a passport, it's like 10 years. You don't even know if you have it. You go pay 10 times to get the same passport and you never have it. But Those are the things that we are trying to get out of that country. We have to. Otherwise, it's a hell that is more than the hell that is spiritual. We are all in hell in that relation. It's an incestuous relation with La République du Cameroon. And we have to turn our backs from that. For those who want to live in that system, that's fine. I don't have no envy for you. I don't hate you for that. But I want you to understand that if you want to drink poison, drink it alone. Ambazonians are not going to drink along with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nzama. I think that is a clear and direct message to home front. ANSC, we see a lot of laxity on so many things on the on home front. What message do you have? There's a lot of laxity. Most especially, we have to be frank to ourselves. Most especially, we see a lot of violation of Brazzaris product. Some are openly feed the whole social media. What message does ANSC has for betrayers, for traitors, and for blacklegs?
Comrade Paul, I think those are the characteristics of what I'll say is those are the characteristics of every revolution. You know, we may come up with certain rules that we want those rules, that we may want them to govern the revolution. But knowing the treachery of the people we are dealing with or the enemy we are dealing with, we should continuously be on our guard. We have, for quite some time, you know, been very successful in keeping out a lot of this French franchise or most of these French goods. And that didn't stop them. That hasn't stopped them from fighting to bring in this those particular goods that we don't need them in our part of the territory. It has been done with the aid of with the help of some blacklegs, maybe the La Republic military, and maybe some other third parties. It though is very troubling. We've been observing that pattern. We've been observing it keenly. What we'll want to do is we'll not just want to apply cosmetic solutions to the problem. We want to look at it and make sure that when we want to get it, we uproot it. We uproot the problem. We uproot whatever problem it is. So with that, we are working closely. We are working closely with our ARFs to identify those that we know are causing those problems, or those that are leaving those products or going against the rules that we've put in place. Doing that, we have to be cautious because we value the lives of our fighters. We will not want them to be in harm's way. But it is an issue of not maybe going to pick up A when we know that A is being aided by B, C, and D. We want to see that all those that are parties to such actions, they are all brought to justice together. We are fighting a war. It's an existential war. We don't have time, you know, for dilly-dallying. We don't have time to go around maybe tolerating people that we have, you know, who are going against the rules that we've put in place. We've given them enough warnings. We'll continue to give those warnings, but those that we see, because there are some of them that are actually the enemy doing that, when we get them, we'll treat them accordingly. So we are advising our fighters, we are advising our population to keep away from anything that is from the enemy. Most of what has been put in place, the rules, the laws that have been put in place by this interim government, we pray with them to abide by those rules. There will be time for us to drink. There will be time for us to jubilate. As for now, as in any war, let's take our time, prosecute the war, no matter how it takes, because we should be ready for the long run. No matter how long it takes, let's take our time. prosecute this one. When we are done with it, we'll have time to sit down and relax. Thank you, Comrade Paul. Comrade Paul, can you hear me? Okay.
Can the panelists get me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. I was talking about blacklegism. The disappointment they have, the impact they have on the ground, and the disappointment some of them had gotten. We have, like, for example, Nambere, who thought the betraying his people will give him better something. At the end of the day, he himself managed to escape. We talk of Clovis. The other day, he got himself in a trap and was well beaten by his own colleagues in DDR. We have this other young man, Yannick, who was even jailed by La République after he was caught selling, I think, fuel. We have so many of them. Comrade Fomba, what lesson, as a defense strategist, what lesson we now see one small I'll put it in quote, Bobby Mop, talking to No Pity, threatening because he used to be a soldier with no pity. Please, Comrade Combat, to these soldiers who, when they decamp, they think they are so strong and they are master to I don't know. They think they have everything. But let them follow the track record of the others who have failed. Nambere failed. Clovis failed. Yannick failed. Nkongo's success cannot even step his feet again in La République or neither in Ambazonia. What can you tell these young men who are being deceived, who are being lured into a trap? We see a small young man like...
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Paul. First of all, one thing we need to understand is that the enemy within is worse than the enemy without. First of all, the message I want to tell the home front, our restoration forces, and any other force that is present on the ground, don't tolerate an enemy within. And if you put your laws, the Ambazonian laws are clearly outlined and stated. We have products that have been banned from La Republique. We have lockdown days that are always declared. We have our regular Monday ghost towns. Anybody who disrespects your own law, who is your brother, your sister, your mother, I will tell you, any Ambazonian, Southern Cameroonian who disrespect the laws that have been put in place by the Ambazonian people, that individual is worse than the enemy. I will tell you that treat them more than the enemy. Treat them worse than the enemy. Because those people, that action is tantamount to betrayal. That action alone means that if they have their way, they can kill you. That action alone speaks volume. Now, let me go straight to this so-called ex-Amba, ex-fighters. Those who are moving around ranting. I'm even shocked and ashamed to see somewhere like Nso Foncha. Somebody who in the days of the ASC embezzled more money from this interim government than any commander. So Foncha, it is on record at the ASC of the days that you were given money or were given 2 RPGs. Let me call the word 2 RPGs. So Foncha, you were in control of Fako, of Meme. You were given 2 RPGs. You're given other materials. But till today, we don't even know where those RPGs are. And Foncha has never told the Ambazonian people what happened with those materials. The huge sum of monies that those materials will cost. Foncha, I'm even shocked to see somebody like Foncha going to parade the streets of New York on his knees, begging to see Pobia. You see, this is what joblessness can render people in the West who have no jobs, who have never worked, who have decided at one point they thought that, joining the struggle was another means to earn a living. But they realize that in a struggle, it means you have to go look for work, assume responsibility, and if possible, finance. And if you have the trust of the people, you have to execute and give an account. So Foncha's inability to render an account to the Ambazonian people left him going to join Pobia and begging to see Pobia. Was parading in front of cameras in the streets. Left is a responsible man in the West, not even in Africa, not even in the shithole Republic. It's a shame. But people like Saul Foncha and the ranks, I want us to understand that these people has killed more Ambazonian than the military, than the La Republic. These people, Nambere, was it called Kawa Yannick, and this other one that is ranting that was beaten in the DDR center. These people have killed Dr. Success. These people have killed more Ambazonians than La Republic, because these people have sold our people to La Republic just to gain crumbs from the table. They have sold our people for money. Nambere was used and he was moving around Kumba and all the the interiors. What was he doing there? He was enabling La Republic to kill his brothers. The same thing with Clovis. You see, Clovis, Nanchok, Nansiri, or whatsoever they call them. All these names, Clovis, are negative names in this struggle, this Ambazonian struggle. The same, this Clovis has been moving from left and right, preaching it voicely, openly in the open, how they are killing people. And the other ones were even testifying how they went to Lebialem and they're burning homes. And these people, these individuals, these cankerworms, these inconsequential boys, you don't even know where they fought. You don't even know what battle they fought. You don't even know if they can even operate an AK-47. They will roam the street and tell the people what atrocities they connive with La Republic to commit in their own communities and on their own people. I have one word for them. I don't wish their demise, not now. I don't. But as a force of nature may have it, but I will pray for them that they should live to see Boya. And the punishment that the Ambazonian people will execute on them. These black legs that are roaming the street, these people that you are hurting, and you are making your video in pronouncement and you are jubilating when we will get to Boya. La Republique will not want to see you. You will run from La Republique and you have nowhere to go. That is a fact. Because they know that you have their dossier. They call it in your colonial language dossier. You have their documents. You have their files. You know their ins and their out. And they will kill you at that verge for freedom because they want to hide evidence. You are evidence A, category A evidence that they will use against them. So if they don't do away with you to lost traces, you would put them at the ICC. But I don't wish that to happen. What I want you to do is, you will run from La Republic and come to Ambazonia. From there, the Ambazonian Restoration Forces, the Ambazonian people, our mothers and our fathers will know what to do with you guys. Thank you very much,
Comrade Fomba. Yeah, I just received a message from Home Front now by WhatsApp. It says, I will read it. It says, I saw ACN activist John Ba Akoro, Akwanga, Yerima, and Ayabacho saying pre-talks are going on in Canada. It is not true. Clarify us on Home Front, please. This is now the deception of the season. The deception of 2023. 2022 was the distraction of Coopers. Now 2023 now is the distraction of this bunch of clowns. I call them bunch of clowns who say there's pre-talk going on. Please, Dr. Nzama, you are the most senior comrade in this panel. You are a member of the cabinet of the interim government. You represent Dr. Sako on this platform. Please, can you tell the Ambazonian people that what is worse than Fumban is going on in Canada? Something worse than Fumban is happening at the moment in Canada. And some clowns who are not even consequential, who have no force. What does Jomba Akoro controls on the ground? Nothing. What does Akwanga control on the ground? Nothing. Who is Yerima? People we have even forgotten their name in this revolution. They come up now, they make a show that there are pre-talks going on. Please, Mr. SOS, my spirit is boiling. I am angered. Can you tell the Ambazonian people that there's another betrayer? They don't represent Ambazonia. These clowns, these jacks don't represent Ambazonia. They are representing themselves. They are representing their stomachs. Can you tell Home Front that there is no such thing as pre-talk going on in Canada?
Well, we have a lot of magicians in our communities called activists. And Mr. Mbakuru and all the other clowns in that bandwagon are not getting anything straightened out. La Republica has started what it called a grand discussion and all that. That didn't come out with anything concrete for our plight. In order to avert that and change the situation, they gave a special status to Ambazonia. That they realized that did not work because it didn't fly. We were not running to go pick that up, their dirty plates. Then they've come up with the Canadian, CDN and all that. Real people who are fighting this war are not in that group. I want to tell grounds the Home Front that we of this IG, we will never participate in a charade. We will never participate in any discussion that's going to sell out their core value of becoming an independent country. We've stood for that many years ago. We will stand for that many years to come. Anybody who is trying to go negotiate anything short of full-blown independence is doing that on his own accord. And we can say with all certainty, none of this group does have any civic responsibility to the Home Front, because they don't do nothing for the Home Front, they don't do nothing for the refugees, they don't do nothing for the prisoners, they don't do nothing for the soldiers. Who are they fighting for? They surely are fighting for themselves. They surely are fighting for themselves, because the last time I saw somebody like Santos, he was standing in front of a hotel, Conrad or something, begging to see old man Paul Biya. And yeah, he's lost everything. He's lost his wife. He's lost everything. And I don't know if he's actually working. And if he's working, he'll have time to go hang around a hotel or run back and forth and say he's a La Republique person. He's not of this fight because it's not he's fighting for his own interests. The people who are fighting this fight in a genuine manner are those people who are fighting this thing selflessly, fighting this thing for the people who are back home. I don't have any reason to be involved in this war. I don't have no interest. But I would say evil is evil. And we are looking at that point, evil is evil. For those who are sitting in Canada, who get a free dinner, who have never slept in a decent hotel, who get paid to come and sit and eat for 3 days and go home with some resolution that's been prepared by La République and France, that is up to them. That's a piece of cake. But I know the home front is not going to accept nonsense like this. They understand who runs this fight. They understand who is fighting this war and who is in support of them. It is this IG under Dr. Sako. Some people may say, oh, SOS West, you are saying because, oh, you are beloved. No, I've been in this fight since the inception of this fight, and I've gone through, I work with Seko, and I'm working through all the other systems in this government. But we have to understand that Ambazonia is not a concept. Ambazonia is not something. Nobody owns Ambazonia. We all do. And we cannot go back and sit and negotiate on our own volition what we want for Ambazonia. We want to negotiate what Ambazonia wants for itself. And that includes everybody's idea what Ambazonia is. And that singular idea is freedom. Freedom because we are tired. We've had enough of the French nonsense. We've had enough of their filth. We have enough of their cheating. We have enough of their corruption. And we cannot sit in this cesspool of relationship and continually sit. We will be cowards. We will be called cowards if we have to push this fight to the next generation of Ambazonians. This is our fight that we must fight, and we must fight like men do. We have to stand up and take the slap on the cheek and return to the other person. We have to understand that this fight is going to even come down to a fist fight. If that comes down to it, we must do it because it's an existential fight. We are not going to go anywhere because we want to see they are trying to depopulate our areas and move the India people. That is a system that has worked in most wars. But if we let that happen, then we will be just part of the population that is being lost, like in the Biafras, like in the West Bank, and like in many other parts of the world. We have to understand that and take this thing seriously because they are eroding our own influence, eroding our culture. If you see our chiefs and our funds are no longer in the palaces, they are somewhere in Yaoundé. Probably they are learning Ewondo and Beti and Bulu now, forgetting the Lamsa and the Balis and all the other languages that are authentic to our area. So these things are valid things that we have to take into consideration, that we are not going to sacrifice the interests of our people for our own singular interest. We do not have that mandate. And nobody in that group that you cited who is representing themselves in Canada is representing Ambazonia. They are all selfish individuals who are there for their own interest. When was the first time you saw Ayaba or say, well, we have raised these funds, we are sending these funds to these people, we show accountability. When have you ever seen Mbaakur come up with some funds? You say, okay, we have these soldiers, we are supporting the soldiers to fight. Every day he will come and say, oh, our ARFs are doing well. Who is sponsoring those ARS? They are not. They are only trying to get benefit from other people. They are parasites. I would call them parasites, and likely they are. They are a cancer that needs to be killed. And when you want to kill a cancer, you put chemotherapy or you put radiation where it is. And these people, I don't want to call them blacklegs. They are all selfish individuals. They are all people who want things for themselves, and they don't know how Machiavellians are. The La République people. They will say one thing, and when they reel you in, they switch. And of course, you are in a begging position. You can never change. You can't change anything. And I want people on the home front to understand that nothing is going on. It's just noise. It's just noise, and the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing, and it makes a lot of noise. And when you know that there's a negotiation going on, you will understand because the dynamics will change, and the thinking that Ambazonia will have, it's going to be quite different. I just want to say nothing is going on in Canada. It's just La Republique inviting some people to see how they can bribe them. Like the enemy, one of them have said, Crisano has said, a lot of money has been going around. Yes, a lot of money. And is it going to fight the war? No, it's not. It's going into private people's accounts. These people are having this money to spend on their own interests. So my brothers and sisters back on the home front, don't believe the hype. Don't believe any of those things you're saying. Even if they come with the cross of Jesus in front of them, run, run, and run, because these guys are all traitors.
Yeah,
Thank you.
think we have barely 10 minutes to go. Yes, it's really bubbling. The charade that is going on is a one of betrayal, because which forces does Ayabacho control? There are sets of kidnappers. Home front, this message goes directly to you. Ayabacho controls a set of kidnappers. Efang has never fought any battle. He is in Batibo kidnapping. Yesterday, he kidnapped, I think, 19 people who went down to Batibo for burial. He kidnapped them and they are waiting for ransom to be paid. They kidnapped Colonia Sinundi and they collected close to 80 million. That is their work. Yerima, for more than 2 years, we have not heard Yerima anywhere. Jomba Akoro has been making noise from morning till night every day on his YouTube channel. He only directs you to his YouTube channel because when you watch, that money goes to his private pocket. Jomba Akoro is a businessman. He does his online business as a journalist on YouTube. So every day he makes his YouTube show. You will never see him on Facebook. No, he does not do it because he will have nothing to go back home with. So all that he does on YouTube is for his own personal interest, for his own private pocket. Akwanga has no force on ground. We had his last force in Mator. Long time ago, they cut connections with him. He doesn't know the way how these guys are managing on home front. I talk with some of them. He doesn't know how they manage on home front. And they gather themselves in Canada in the name of that. There is pre-talk. Pre-talk with who? Pre-talk with who? There is no pre-talk going on. But another bunch of clowns wanting to betray Ambazonia again. What happened in Fumba is what they are trying to do in Canada. Homefront, get this message clearly. I have described them one after the other, from Ayabacho to Yerima to Mba Akoro, who is a businessman. Mba Akoro will not make any live show on Facebook. Why does he go only on YouTube? He sends you the link that you should watch on YouTube. Something goes to his pocket. Fellow Ambazonians, we are at war and we will fight this war till the end. There is no backdoor pre-talk. When it started in Swiss, they were all against it. They fought against the Swiss process, which was internationally recognized and approved. They fought against it until they were still the same people to come out and say La République has backed out of it. And all of a sudden, now La République is in another pre-talk. What changed? What was the difference between Swiss and Canada? What was the difference? Wise. I think we'll be rounding up. So please, fellow Ambazonians, there are business people in this revolution. Ayabacho is a businessman. Ayabacho and his guys and his gang on the ground are business people. They are not fighting this war. Where has Efang? Where have you seen Efang? Look at General Talk of Bui. 2 days ago, he sent 2 of those terrorists to prepare food for Ekema. That is active on the ground. Look at Ngokutunja, because they wanted to build an illegal military barrack. The road has been closed for close to a month now. That is what we call war. We are fighting. And you see some clown, Yerima, whom we have not heard for more than 2 years. He comes and say they are in Canada. Please, home front, stand your ground. Soldiers on the ground, stand your ground. I think we are going to be rounding up. I'll get Commander Kenneth. I'll get a word of roundup from you before we proceed with Fombat. I think this is just the first show. Please, you can talk a bit about the Canada charade, just 5 minutes. We don't have much time, you know. So just give a word of roundup. Maybe you can side on the Canada charade, then Commander Fombat, then SOS, then we go around. We close.
Yeah, let me start by saying this. We've been with La Republic since 1961. We know the type of people that they are. La Republic cannot be trusted yesterday, neither today nor tomorrow. There are people that, for all this while, they have treated us less than slaves. For them to turn around, you know, when we started this whole the revolution, they had termed it that they had come in with their military thinking that they're just going to walk over us, have their way, and then we'll succumb and then listen to whatever they have to say. But that was far from the case. We didn't take that, and we are not going to take it. Now, when the war is not going according, because there's a war that they declared on us, we wanted our freedom. They declared war on us. Now, there were some of them, let me go back to that point, that were even saying that they don't know the strength of the Republic military when they've set in whatever is going to happen. We've been there for how many years today? We've seen it. They have not been able to do anything, and they will not be able to conquer our boys. Canada being, it's just part 2 or part 3 of the Grand National Dialogue that they started in Yaoundé. All those clowns that are there saying that they are there on doing some sort of negotiations, they are negotiating for their pockets. It's not for the Amazonian people. That is just for their pockets. Whatever they're doing there, those are people that maybe go about, they don't have things to do, and they go out there saying that they are going to do negotiations. People on the home front, maybe when they get this, they are deceived. The one thing I would like to advise, the one advice I like to give to the people at the home front, look, this particular government, we control the fighting force on the ground. When I say it, I mean it. We control the fighting force on the ground. And none of those forces take orders. None of them take orders from any of these people that find themselves in Canada. They take their orders from this interim government. So whatever is happening there, you people should just make sure that you stay focused on the struggle. This struggle is for each and every one of us. We have the fighters on the ground, and we have our civil population. Each and every one of us has got the role to play. We shouldn't say this is for the Amber boy or this is for this particular person. No, we are all involved in this fight. It's an existential fight, as we've been saying all along. Canada, being what it is, it will fail. La Republique can never be trusted. Those that are there, they had been part of the system of La Republique. They have just simply called them to come back and then spread some lies to deceive people and let people think that maybe things are going to be negotiated on that table. Please, each and every, if I have this advice for you, clutch your sticks on your chest. Let them be there. That is where our freedom is going to come from. Don't let it drop. Don't let it anywhere else. Keep it right there. When you hear PEM, make sure you go for it if it is La Republique. Don't spare. Our freedom is going to come from those sticks we're carrying, and we will fight our way through to the very last man standing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Commander Fombat, what is your say and your round-up statement for the show tonight?
I will simply say there is nothing like. I will simply say there is no talks in Canada. That thing in Canada is just another piece of cloth to blindfold Ambazonian people. There is nothing like pre-talks in Canada. because we have to take ourselves down memory lane. I think it is still too not long from now. We need to all remember. These people who are in Canada are the same people who fought against the Swiss-led process. Yeah, the A-Gov-C or the A-Gov-Shit or the EDF and things like that. Those are the people who send dangerous weapons to fight against the Swiss-led process, negotiation process. These are the same people who are clamoring with Celine Dion, John Gutti in Canada in the name of talks. There is no talks in Canada, no talks. Even when we had the Swiss-led process, the Swiss-led talks, those talks were backed by the international community. The UN made a statement on those talks. Canada did. Canada itself did. United States did. Britain did. France did. Even the France that is, it did. Major countries, powerful countries of the world, they wage behind those talks. But sellouts like the Ayabachos and other people, they send their weapon of destruction, mass destruction, to sabotage, call names, even call the organization, held meeting with the organization just to make sure that this Swiss-led talks does not see the light of day. And they thought they have succeeded. Because why? They already had pre-arrangement with La République to talk. They had pre-arrangement with La République to take their money. That is a fact. Because you can't imagine, how can somebody imagine that world powers has endorsed a process for a lasting solution that would see La République running to the table with the Ambazonian people to negotiate on the terms of separation, to talk concerning these two countries, Ambazonia and La République. But people we call our own, people who said they are fighting for a country, they are the same people who will come on board to sabotage it. But shockingly for them, I want to tell them today that Paul Biya is not in Switzerland. Because when Paul Biya made his speech on the 31st, breaking 1st of January, he did not mention anything like any talks going on in Canada. So I don't know if it is Quebec, that French town in Canada, that is citing with La République to call these enablers together with La République and sit some corner and shake hands, drink champagne and wine and dine and just eat some salads. After that, they give them envelopes, because that is what it is all about. Which country can you talk about? Some people, some Ambazonians talk to diplomats every day, and you never hear any of them. Any of them will tell you that there are talks going on in Canada. Nobody. I write to my parliamentarian every day. When these Swiss talks were going on, I wrote my parliamentarian, and he was aware, and he mentioned in the letter that he replied me that hopefully a resolution will come out from Canada. But in the United Kingdom, this House of Lords, House of Parliament, they are always on the case. But no statement has, even from the EU, even from Francophonie, even from France has not made a statement on talks in Canada. So who are these people deceiving? Why are they deceiving? And for how long will they carry on deceiving the Amazonian people? Listen to the restoration forces on the ground. If you are a soldier and you put your head on talks and the enemy is still parading in your quarters, and you want to tempt yourself to believe that, oh, I am waiting for resolution that will come out from Canada, you have put yourself on the slaughter table. It is your life. Make sure your AK-47 is your best friend. The only friend that you can trust is your age, even your wife in times of war. When you are on the battlefield, don't trust them. This is very, very important for any resolution. If you call yourself a resolution fighter, if you know why you are in this struggle, there is no talks. Once you start talking on the table with the opposite partner, the first thing is withdraw first before we start talking. If there were any talks in Canada, La Republique troops would be now in Douala or Yaoundé, going to their country. That is where you know that there are talks going on. Nobody should deceive you, because as they are talking in Canada, La Republique is still killing our people and burning homes. That's a fact. They are still moving in our quarters in front of our people, arresting them, torturing them, killing them in broad daylight. And you tell me that there are talks in Canada? What talks are they talking about? There are a group of syndicates in Canada. Some are even your quarter heads back at the home front. Some are even your chiefs. Some are. There is no francophone in that delegation. No francophone. You are simply talking within yourselves to bring a solution of what? What will be the outcome? Ambazonians are talking with Ambazonians. Ambazonians are talking with Anglophones. Let me just put it: Ambazonians versus Anglophones. Are we fighting Anglophones? We are not fighting Anglophones. The war was declared by Paul Biya. His ministers or himself should be somewhere talking. That's where we know that there are talks going on. In the absence of that, my people, Ambazonian people, there are no talks in Canada. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. I think it has been a rich and enriched program. We'll hear from the SOS to run up for today. But I still want to remind Amazonians, this show will be on every Saturday. Get us between 7:30 until we get a fixed time between the news and the defense briefing. But for now, I can say 7:30 till 8:30 or above, as our time will permit. No will be on board to brief you on certain issues, on defense issues. We'll leave you after SOS Zama. We'll be leaving with some videos for you to watch on what has been happening 2022. So SOS Zama, please, I just want to remind Ambazonians on home front. If you're on home front, please stop watching John Ba Akoro on YouTube. You are giving him money. He's making money out of your data. I just want to advise you on home front. Each time you go on YouTube and you watch those is trash, those is rubbish, you give him money. He's the one who is supposed to support home front, not home front supporting him. So stop wasting your data, paying somebody's rent.
Comrade Paul, 1 second. Can I just add something before SOS round up, please? Just 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just want to inform our people that we are at the crossroad. This is a statement of hope and courage. You know, it's difficult to make such a statement openly in the public. You know, when this struggle started in 2017, before all these burnings began, you know, I don't know, I found myself on a burning ground. I was hanging on space. I saw homes that were burnt. And then that is when La Republique started burning homes. But now the dreams that I am getting are the dreams that I find myself in a home front and I see our people jubilating. I am not a prophet. I don't pray. You know, God has decided to show. I've never talked about any prayer or any prophet. But listen, be courageous and be strong. This issue, La Republique, the enemy is after you, it is after me, it is after us. There are things that we have gone and undergone and we are still going through in this struggle. And we will still go through more. Maybe it has not reached you, but remember, you don't know tomorrow. So it's either you join us and we kick the enemy out, or you stay there and winds to fall on your roof one day. And when the rain start falling on your roof, there will be nobody to tend to. Remember that it is one for all for one. My Facebook page has been disabled by the enemy since September, I think September, October. Those who follow me on Facebook, I am still doing my possible best to bring back that Facebook page. Let me tell you, if you're on Facebook, if you're on social media, La Republic is scared of what you say. La Republic is scared. They panic. They hate because you are exposing them. If you're on there, stick there. Do more. Share more. Post more. Expose the atrocities of La Republic to the world. I am struggling to bring back my Facebook page. When I will finally have done that, I will organize a live show, and that live show will be a lot revealing. So stick in there. I will inform our people. Thank you very much.
For now, since the Facebook page is not possible, defense briefing, you'll be telling us all those things that you will tell us in your live show. For now, we need this information. So SOS, the floor is yours for you to run up the show, and we'll be waiting on next week, Saturday, 7:30, same time, same place on ABC. So SOS, the mic is yours.
Fellow Ambazonians, thank you for us taking a few hours of yours for the day to at least tell you where we are coming from, where we are, where we've been in this war. This is your war. This is your war because you are the moving target. This is your war and only yours, and only you can fight this war. You are not going to be able to bring any other person. There's no cavalry out there running to help Ambazonia. So we are all left on our own ability to fight the enemy. We are doing a lot of damage to the enemy. The enemy has recruited more than 17 times since the start of this war. You should know that you've been killing a lot of them. That's why, and disabling a lot of them. That's why they are hiring more and more people. We'll continue the march to Buea, and any objects that are in our way will be crushed. We will fight our way. We will shoot our way to Buea. We are not going to beg our way for a negotiation to Buea. That never happens in any fight. We have to shoot our way. For those of you who we have provided arms to, if you want to surrender, go give that arm back to your barracks and move on where you want to move. That's your choice. It's a volunteer fight. Nobody has been conscripted to fight. We are all fighting because we want to. If you are tired, you can walk. But remember, any state-owned property is a state-owned property. You have to hand it before you leave. Secondly, I'm telling every person in the home front that this is your war. You have to be an intelligent officer. You don't have to be fighting. You have that cell phone. You have your ears on the ground. Listen to what people say. Listen to what they say at the barber shop, at the beer parlor, in the market. Even if you are selling soya in Bunda or in Meselele or in wherever that place they sell soya in East Cameroon, listen to where these soldiers are going. Transmit that information. If we have a 6-hour advantage of time when you give us information, we have our soldiers to react much more appropriately. But even if it's only 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it could give them enough time to get out of the enemy's way. Release those information. Talk to our soldiers. Develop a relationship with the soldiers. And I'm telling the soldiers to develop an appropriate relationship with the population. Be kind to the population, because the population, that's why you are fighting this war. You are fighting this war to protect the population. If it was up to yourself, you get your gun and you can go about your business. But so far as you are fighting under this Ambazonian Restoration Force, under this IG, we are asking you to keep basic principles of respect. Respect for yourself, respect for the community, and respect of the rules of engagement. Remember, there will be black legs. Those black legs are direct intelligence officers for La Republique, and henceforth they are open for target. You can target them. That's a legitimate target. If they are an intelligent officer, they are a legitimate target for you. So do not feel remorse for that. and go after anybody who is fighting you. We are not asking you to go after civilians like the La Republic people are doing. We are much more civilized than that. But we have to maintain some rule and order. In case they are intelligent officer, who these laglegs usually are, they are good to be attacked like any other force in the fight. As we are having the night, you going night to the night it's night in Ambazonia. We are asking you to be safe. Remember, if you hear gunshots, go to the ground. Don't go to the window to look what's going on. Take cover first. Be safe, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commander Kenneth. Thank you, SOS. Thank you, Commander Fombat. Until next Saturday, same time, I wish you guys all the best. While we will call on our technician, special thank to Mayor Carey, special thank to Commando, and special thank to Paddy, our man in charge. We thank you all, and most especially big thanks to our president, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ekome Saku. Thank you all televiewers on home front, in the diaspora. See you next week.
Yes, this one action group for boy. Yes, this one action group for boy. Now meet them that they come. So one make aspirations. Boy warriors are gonna show them man. So action group like this, you know, the West time will do anything. So we'll see what thing could happen. They don't already the enter my target. Small. We can show them, meet them. Wow. Do. That's Here. What you want to show? You know, you find out who them kill. You know, my mom came at them. Rubbish. You know, I died today. You must hear this. Yes, this one action group for boy. Now meet them that they come.
Cheguei! Cái tiền đi mo. Lấy người tìm mo. Lấy sao cái gì đi. Cheguei!
Bye-bye.
name on the beat.
Africa, eh.
Les gens souffrent des maisons brûlées. La mébille a commis du génocide. Ils pensent que l'Amazonie est un peste. À l'œil, ils sont à mettre comme un pesticide. Ils se fichent de soif que tu es. Mais des balles dans les têtes des bébés. À cause de son vieille fierté, l'ONU ne peut rien faire. L'Afrique est ton frère.
Africa, eh.
Ambazonia.
Est ton frère.
Manga. Jesse Itambi. Mark Pareta, Tapang Ivor, Eric Tato, Tapo Daniel, Unite, take us to Bongo Square.
Clear name on the beat.